leader. This is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. The string of bitter cold temperatures showing no signs of letting up quite yet. This is a live look outside from the Stockman Bank weather cam as the temperatures keep dropping. Record lows in some places across the state, and here in Billings, we had the coldest day that we've seen in 7 years. Let's go right to Q2 Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh in the Weather Center. And Ed, we're used to cold mornings in Montana, but now it's not even heating up during the day.
That's right, yeah. And you mentioned the record cold temperatures. Here's a look at some of them across the area. And Billings, as it reached 20 below, that's the first time we've hit 20 below since 2014. Miles City, Great Falls, Lewistown, all with record cold. But the afternoons, we've been staying below zero or colder for 6 consecutive days here in Billings now as of today. If we stay on track over the course of the next couple of afternoons, that will move up and we will be tied for the number 2 longest string of days where those readings just don't quite make it to a plus sign. We'll take a closer look at what the extended forecast looks like and all the forecasts for the details on the weekend coming up in a few minutes as well.
All right, thank you, Ed. As Montana's mask mandate expired today, a mixed bag of reaction for city and county government and private businesses. On Wednesday, Governor Gianforte pointed to the continued drop in active COVID-19 cases statewide. Local jurisdictions may choose to continue their own mask mandates. Also, businesses and other establishments still have the right to require masks for customers and visitors. Well, today, MTN's Jordan Johnson caught up with Gianforte at a vaccination clinic in Kalispell.
This is fantastic to see a community come together like this. Every shot that goes in an arm makes the light at the end of the tunnel brighter for all of us to come out of this difficult period.
Montana Governor Greg Gianforte visited the Flathead County Fairgrounds on Friday to see the vaccination clinic taking place, giving 1,000 vaccinations to those in Tier 1B. But starting on Friday, the statewide mask mandate put into place by previous Governor Steve Bullock is no longer in effect. The governor lifted the mandatory mask mandate after signing a new bill that protects businesses and healthcare providers from coronavirus-related lawsuits as long as they are taking reasonable measures based on public health guidance about COVID.
I've said all along, I believe in personal responsibility as opposed to government mandates. Businesses still need to make reasonable precautions to protect both their staff and their customers. We encourage them to follow the CDC guidelines, but not every part of the state is the same.
Still, Governor Gianforte says he supports local health departments' decisions to continue the use of masks.
Well, the local health departments have the authority to implement policies that are appropriate for the community, and they have to look at the facts on the ground here to make the best decision for the community.
Although the governor lifted the mask mandate, he still wears one to protect himself and others around him. He encourages Montanans to do the same.
Montanans don't like wearing masks. I choose to wear a mask because it protects myself and the people around. I encourage other Montanans to do the same.
The governor also stated that the light at the end of the tunnel he believes is coming.
We need to work through this together, and I know Montanans are resilient and our best days are ahead of us.
Governor Gianforte also traveled to the Polson vaccination clinic at the Quatucknut Casino. In Kalispell, Jordan Johnson, MTN News.
Well, the state's top medical officer, Dr. Greg Holzman, who's often been the face of the state's COVID-19 response and policy, is resigning. Holzman submitted his resignation letter yesterday, one day before the governor lifted the statewide face mask mandate. Holzman often appeared beside the previous governor, Democrat Steve Bullock, during public briefings last year on COVID-19 responses. He was a big booster wearing masks to slow the spread of the virus, although he also said he knew it was difficult to enforce. Public Health and Human Services Director Adam Meyer said in a statement today that Holzman did an incredible job. Holzman said he'll stay on the job until April 16th. Well, as Montana's statewide mask mandate disappears, Yellowstone County reported 2 new COVID-19 related deaths today. One of those deaths, a man in his 50s, died yesterday, while the other death came in late January. The countywide death toll now stands at 230, while the state's total is 1,339. Active cases remain under 3,000 tonight, and well over 93,000 Montanans have now recovered. The lifting of the mask requirement brings some optimism to businesses. The Montana Retail Association expects a strong comeback for businesses and stores. The Cham Thai restaurant in downtown Billings has decided to continue with precautions. It'll offer takeout and no dining at the restaurant. We talked with several other small restaurants who also plan on being cautious by requiring masks or just doing takeout.
I hope that people get a lot of vaccine more and more, so things might get better. So that's what I expect for, but I'm not quite sure, like how soon or how far, you know. Yep, and hope that we can get back and open.
It's been gut-wrenching, but you know, everybody was in the same boat, and luckily our government has put a lot of money out into the restaurant community and into small businesses' pockets, and I think if people took advantage of both the first and the second PPP. There's going to be another round of stimulus money for restaurants specifically in this next stimulus package. I'm excited about the direction that we're going. I think the Governor Gianforte is doing a good job with getting the vaccines out, and he's just pushing to get more and more of them into the arms of Montanans, and that's what we need to begin to restore more confidence too. So. Yeah, all in all, I'm pretty enthusiastic for this year, and looking forward to better days ahead.
We did try talking to some of the bigger restaurants, which may be seeing benefits of the lifted guidelines since they were almost all too busy tonight for an interview. Well, the end of the mask mandate is already changing the look of local gyms. Yellowstone Fitness has taken down the mask requirement signs. Masks were needed when entering, but could be taken off when working out. The gym's owner says sanitation is a big part of the gym routine, and the members still have the opportunity to distance.
As long as we're staying clean and doing all we can, I don't think the mandate the way it was before, the way it is now, I don't think it's going to make any difference. Not in this facility. I think it's kind of crazy. Like if it was some other business, I understand keeping the mask on. But when you get to take them off anyway, why even wear them in the front door? We haven't had any bout breaks. Nobody's ever said they got it here. It's a healthy environment, and we're trying to keep it that way. I took the sign down, and I'm just going to let people do what they feel like they're comfortable with.
Another gym will make different changes. The YMCA will also no longer require the mask, but highly is encouraging them. But masks will still be required for youth after school programs for the YMCA and for the YMCA staff. Yellowstone County remains under the state guidelines, meaning the mask mandate has been eliminated. But after checking all around Billings, the big takeaway is to always have a mask on hand still. It's important to remember that even with the order eliminated in Yellowstone County, that schools and businesses across the area can choose to implement their own protocols. And quite a mix of mandates and decisions across the Montana counties, like Yellowstone County, Cascade, Carbon, Stillwater, Dawson, Fergus, and Blaine counties will move forward with no mandate, as will Golden Valley, Judith Basin, Musselshell, Wheatland, Jefferson, and Petroleum counties. However, Bighorn and Park counties will keep their mask mandates, as will many of the larger counties across the state, such as Gallatin, Missoula, Butte, Silver Bow, and Lewis and Clark. Well, after about 3 hours, former President Trump's lawyers wrapped up their impeachment defense, arguing that his speech on January 6th, the day of the Capitol riot, was protected by free speech and didn't set off that deadly rampage. They said Mr. Trump had only advocated for peaceful protests and repeatedly condemned violence throughout his time in office. Natalie Brand has the latest from Capitol Hill.
In arguments that lasted just about 3 hours, Mr. Trump's impeachment defense team tried to distance the former president from the rioters who attacked the Capitol on January 6th.
If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. No human being seriously believes that the use of such metaphorical terminology is incitement to political violence.
The defense also played video montages of Democratic lawmakers in an effort to argue they've also used heated political rhetoric.
Our job is to fight.
Who has led us in this fight
is to fight for this.
Some GOP senators praised the defense's performance on Friday, and the numbers appear to be on the former president's side. A conviction would take at least 17 Senate Republicans voting with Democrats, an outcome considered unlikely.
I think the president's lawyers blew the House manager case out of the water.
But some Republicans still have questions about the timeline of the violence that unfolded last month.
So the president knew that people had invaded They were approaching the Senate chamber, and the Secret Service felt like the vice president was in danger. About 30 minutes later, he tweeted out another tweet negatively towards the vice president.
During questioning, Mr. Trump's lawyers would not get into timeline specifics, but said the former president was not aware the former vice president was in danger. However, CBS News has reported a senator told Mr. Trump by phone Mike Pence had been evacuated from the Senate floor. Mr. Trump's lawyers added that what the former president did during the riot was not relevant to the charge of inciting an insurrection. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
At the end of the questioning phase of the trial, the Senate awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to U.S. Capitol Police Officer Eugene Goodman, who helped keep a crowd of attackers out of the Senate chamber during the riots. The impeachment trial expected to wrap up tomorrow with a final roll call vote. And the defense team for former President Trump used several video compilations today during the impeachment trial. One of them included 2 clips of Montana Senator Jon Tester. Trump's lawyer presenting the video to drill home their argument that some of the Democrats shown are jurors in the trial. The clips of Tester included an MSNBC interview from July 18, 2019, where Tester says, "Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face." He also used a campaign ad in Tester's 2018 run for Senate where he says he's wired to fight. The 9 minutes of compilation of Democrats using the word fight to rebut the charge that former President Trump incited the January 6th Capitol riot. Still ahead on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2, a milestone day here in Billings. One local hospital administering dose number 10,000 of the COVID-19 vaccine. We're going to hear from the recipient. And a little later in sports, from Bears to Bulldogs, it's a rivalry night on the hardwood. Some of the state's top teams facing off around Billings. Highlights on the way.
From Montana's news leader, your